Hey, everybody, we are launching a new movie discussion channel on YouTube with a spiritual twist. We watch popular movies and we get together and we talk about the spiritual themes that we see in them. And then we trace those spiritual concepts through the plot. So it's a casual way of discussing God in a non religious setting. So, this is our regular crew. I wanted to introduce you to them. I'm Nathan. I'm the theology nerd. I do all this research on theological themes and ideas. I also do a little bit of composing for TV and film. So why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Hey, I'm Doug. I'm kind of the movie nerd. Yeah, movies have been a big part of my life since the first one I remember seeing, and I've seen anyone I can get a hold of that sounds good. I haven't seen all the bad ones, but I like the bad ones too. So yeah, I've got a lot of knowledge when it comes to the movies, especially 80s movies. Movie knowledge that works great for this podcast and nowhere else in the world. But yeah, I do that. I do some screenwriting. I think I mentioned at one point we had a fish hook and we lost the bait. So anyway, we'll see what happens with the next one. But yeah, I still do some writing, and yeah, I'm kind of the movie guy.
Well, as he just mentioned, my name is Drew, and I too love movies. I'll watch anything, good, bad, ugly, whatever. I actually kind of prefer some of the more cornier movies. I don't know why, but like UHF is on almost repeat in my house. I got my kids watching that now, but I think what I bring to the table is I like to dig deep into films. I love looking at production notes, when it was filmed, where it was filmed, filming locations, and finding little Easter eggs and little background details that you might miss when you watch it. I'm fascinated by those things. So I try to add as much of that to this as possible whenever I spot or notice something. So, but just really enjoy movies and enjoy watching them and talking about them.
Yeah, we haven't covered any bad movies, any so bad it's good movies yet. But I
Yet.
also love those. I'm always torturing my wife. I'm like, hey, I found this movie and it's horrible. It's going to be so great. And then I watch it, I'm laughing, and she's like, seriously?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. I'll have a movie on that's so bad I'm watching it. My wife will walk in the room going, "Why are you watching this again?" Because it's great. It's so stupid. I love it.
No, I'm the same. I'll be watching a movie and no one walks in.
Oh, man. All right, so I got some questions for you guys about the movies we've covered. We've covered several movies already. We've covered Batman, Uncharted, Poltergeist. We're in the process of working on that one. Nope, Samaritan, and The Night House. So I was wondering, what was your favorite movie that we've covered so far and why?
I'm enjoying this Poltergeist one we're doing, but I'm not going to spoil that one. So I'm going to go with Night House. I do enjoy a good horror movie. I think if I had to pick a genre, that'd be my favorite. It's not my, I got a couple horror movies in my favorite or top 5 or 6 or whatever, but I really like the Night House. There was a lot going on with there. We found out a bunch of stuff. The difference between a voodoo doll and I can't remember what the name of that other doll was, but we found a lot of cool information about that. If we even spent more time on the movie, we could probably go even deeper into the theology with it. It's also a movie that I'm kind of disappointed it came out when it did, because they finished it and COVID hit. So they held on to it for about a year and a half and then just released it on like Amazon and online. And it was a really good movie. And I think if they pushed it, had a good advertising campaign, it really could have got some legs. And obviously, I think we talked about it. So spoiler, the nothing or whatever they called it was still there. So it could have been left open for a part 2 and go deeper into a lot of those things we found. Like, Nathan mentioned he saw certain mazes and how did that work into it. And they really could have dove deep into that in a part 2 or make it a trilogy or something like that. But I don't know if it has the popularity to be able to justify to spend more money on it. So I doubt we'll see that, but I'd have to say that I had a lot of fun with that, researching it, and I enjoyed the movie a lot. So that'd be my favorite, I think, out of the ones we've done so far. Check that one out.
I do agree with Doug that The Night House was a lot of fun, and it was a movie that I had never heard of, and watched it and absolutely loved it. I thought it was really, really well done. But my favorite one that we've done so far would have been Nope. I think Jordan Peele has got an incredible imagination, and his storytelling is just top notch. And this is coming from a guy that you wouldn't expect it from. This guy's known as being a comedian, and he's writing these
Donkey teeth.
he and he's coming up with these great fantasy, horror, psychological thrillers. And I saw Nope, in the theaters, and that was my reaction to quite a few scenes in that movie. Was nope, I'm not doing that. So it was really well done, and I really enjoyed that one.
And mine was The Batman. I have to go with that because I'm
Of
a huge
course.
Batman
Yeah,
fan.
we saw that coming.
Yeah. Now, that movie was surprising. This is the 2022 Robert Pattinson Batman movie. It surprised me a little bit because it had this pretty powerful transformation arc for Batman's character. And I think at the end, the last 10 minutes, I'm going to try not to spoil it here, but in the last 10 minutes, you basically see like a Moses storyline. Like Batman is basically a Moses character. And that surprised me a little. There were some cues there that made me think maybe that was intentional by the writer, and that kind of intrigued me. So I'm really curious to see what part two is going to be like, because I think Batman will have changed and we'll get to see a little bit more of that arc. Plus, it had the best Batmobile chase scene I've ever seen on film.
Very
It
good.
was pretty.
That Batmobile was just mean and scary.
It was.
Oh, yeah.
I want one.
Yeah. So, of the movies we've covered so far, I would also like to know which one surprised you because of its spiritual themes. Which one surprised you the most?
I'd have to say week one was with The Matrix, a movie I have not seen since and did not like. I'm
Now, this
sorry.
is the
And
new Matrix,
yes,
right? Matrix 4.
whatever the last one was called, that
Resurrection.
Resurrection. Yeah. So anybody who enjoyed it, I'm not saying you're wrong. Okay, it was not for me.
I loved it.
Yeah. See, Nathan loved it, and I don't think he's wrong for loving it. Not, at least not to his face. So I walked into our first podcast going, "What are we doing? What why? We're gonna review this movie that has nothing to do with." I was struggling to find something to talk about, and then listening to Drew and Nathan talk is like, oh, okay, I see what we're looking for. And listening to them talk, I'm visualizing the scenes, and it's like, oh, I see here. And then I was able to throw in on some stuff. So that one was the most surprising because it just opened my eyes to what Nathan was actually wanting to do with this podcast. And I knew what he wanted to do, but I guess I didn't either see it at first, or I just hated the Matrix so much that I couldn't see it, whatever the case was. And if you go back and watch it, I mean, I'm literally just sitting there dumbfounded for like the first 20 minutes. Like, I don't know what to say about this other than how much I hate it. But then once they got into it, it's like, oh, okay, I see where we're going. And I was able to jump in. So that was surprising to me, that even in a movie I did not appreciate, we were still able to find a lot of spiritual themes and talk deeper into it. And it made me appreciate the story a little bit more, even though not as much to actually watch it again. So that's what I'd go with.
I agree with you on the Matrix. I was the same way after we watched it. I was like, I don't know how I'm going to talk about this movie, but yeah, there was a lot going on that connected. I also, with this one, could also say Nope was in the same category. When I watched it in the theaters, I know I was watching it, one, because I wanted to, but also because I knew we were going to review it. So I was trying to watch and pick out some themes, and I had to go home later and really think about it. But there was a lot in that movie that you just wouldn't think would be in a movie like that. I mean, it starts off with a quote from Book of Nahum, so it's right off the bat. There's one, but when you really dig into it, there was a lot of themes that we were able to pick up from, watching spectacles, becoming the spectacle. I was kind of surprised that I found as much in there as it was more than I was expecting.
And mine was The Night House, which I thought was a really solid, kind of unknown horror movie. I mean, if you look up the reviews, it got a lot of really positive reviews. Like Doug said, it just probably didn't reach the mass audience that it deserved. But my review here is going to contain a little bit of a spoiler. So if you haven't seen the movie and you plan to, just skip ahead like 2 minutes. But The Night House, it starts off like a ghost story. So ghost story, and then eventually you figure out it's not really a ghost story. It's about a demon and what this demon does to tempt people. We thought that was really interesting. It actually gave a really biblically accurate look at spiritual warfare and how demons work on people to kind of break them down over time. And that was really fascinating because you're watching a mainstream movie. It's not a Christian movie, but it shows this concept like very biblically accurate, and it's like they studied that subject to get it right. And I was very impressed that they would go to those lengths to do that. So very intriguing movie. There are a couple places where I thought they could have done a little bit more with it, but I was impressed. So yeah, I've really enjoyed digging into these spiritual concepts in these movies that we've been looking at. And like I said, we are working on Poltergeist right now, and I'm pretty sure we're going to do the Christmas Story at the end of the year.
Sweet.
To kind of change it up. So look out for that. You can find us. The Movies Are Spiritual podcast is on Spotify and any podcast app, or we're building a YouTube channel. So you can find us on Movies Are Spiritual on YouTube. And then if you want to go a little bit deeper into theology, I also run a channel called Brewery Ministries, and Movies Are Spiritual is sort of the sister podcast and sister YouTube channel to the Brewery Ministries channel. So those two channels are kind of supposed to work in tandem. So if you want to go deeper into theology, check out the Brewery Ministries YouTube channel and podcast. Okay, well, thank you guys for joining me here, and we are going to dive into another podcast soon. So we will see you later.
You're like,
Later.